All right, seeing that it's now 6 p.m. On Wednesday. Today is the 23rd?
Sure.
April 23rd.
Sure.
6 p.m. I'll call the Wage and Personnel meeting to order. Jennifer is probably gonna review the recording for the minutes. Okay, she wasn't available this evening, Lorraine's here and I'm here. Couple of quick announcements. The meeting is being recorded by Zoom. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting can notify the chair at this time. Not seeing one. Items may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair. The Wage and Personnel Board needs a third member to be appointed by the Finance Committee. If anyone is interested in joining the board, please contact the Finance Committee or the Board of Selectmen's office. That is kind of important because we are a board of 3 members. So there are some things that it would be nice to have a third member on our board. Okay. First meeting, item of business, we have an appointment, Tina Betty, the Human Resources Manager, and Polly, help me with your last name.
Nigelli.
Nigelli, thank you. I didn't want to destroy it. Director of Elder Services to discuss the salary of the new Assistant Director of Elder Affairs, higher above step 3 of grade 5.
So, as I mentioned for a couple of meetings, we had posted for the Assistant Director of Elder Affairs. To remind everybody, so Holly actually was promoted in as the director. She was the Assistant Director, so this would be a replacement for her. And we posted internally, externally, advertised. We got about 27 applicants. We interviewed 6, and our candidates that we both agreed on, just maybe shoulders about the rest. Great experience, great references, really great disposition. She, as I said, is our candidate that we'd like. We would like to bring her in at a step 4. We Wage and Personnel, anything above a step 3 hire, as the county board, so that's what we're doing now. Part of the justification for wanting to bring her in at step 4 is her, great experience, being able to hit the ground running. But also, given the time of year, she will get an increase in the staff until July of 26. So it'll be over a year until she can, get another staff. So if she were to start before July 1, her entrance salary would be at the fiscal 25 rate, and then when July 1 hits, if the 2% COLA that we can personnel is put through at town meeting, she would still be at a step 4. It was what
Provided it passes.
Right.
So, okay. Polly, do you want to add anything?
No, so our candidate comes with a really strong background. She's been at several COAs in the area. She's got all the qualifications that we're looking for. She was, myself and Tina both agreed she was our number 1 pick overall. I'm confident that she'll accept the step 4 offer, and I'd hate to lose her. I think she's a really great fit. She's going to fit in well with the rest of the staff. There's no additional training that she would have to go through to step right into that role seamlessly.
Is there a reason why she wouldn't accept step 3?
I think she just felt that her background was, she was a little bit more qualified for a higher salary. She's got 16 years experience in councils on aging. And she brings, again, a lot of training, a lot of knowledge, a lot of inside, lingo, so to speak, of senior centers, and the qualifications with the software programs that we use. Some of that stuff is, that's additional training that she doesn't have to undergo. I don't have to put her through any kind of training for the software that we use specific to the senior center. She's well versed in all of that.
The amount that she was looking for is so effective.
Okay. Why does she want to leave this year?
I think she felt that there's just no room for growth. So this would be a promotion for her. She's been throughout the COAs that she's been at in the area, she's served in several different roles. And so she can sort of fill in, which is also important with us because we're such a small department that if any one person is out, it's important that the other person or the other staff can fill in for that person. And so she does have experience in all areas of the Council on Aging department. But this would be a promotion for her.
Is the outreach coordinator still vacant?
No,
No.
that's
That's been
That's
filled.
not filled. Program coordinator?
we don't.
Okay, is
Ah.
program coordinator going to be filled?
No, so when I became the assistant director, the programs coordinator and my role at the time, which was a part-time media and marketing coordinator, that was a part-time, and then the full-time position were combined to become that assistant director. So this is the role that I left when I was promoted to director, and this is the role that we're currently filling. So it is heavy on the programs, on the marketing, the newsletter, the day-to-day operations of the senior center, and the overseeing all of the programming and events. It's a lot of what this role does.
Lorraine, do you have anything?
Sorry about that, I was just finishing my thought. I had one very simple question. I looked at her resume and she has all the programs involved. She's involved with all the programs. She's got Shine, she's got band drivers, social work knowledge, so I agree with you. What I'm looking at on paper looks like a good person. The only candidate, the only question I have, which is something very silly, and it may have absolutely nothing to do with anything, is one of the requirements is first aid. And she's got a boatload of certifications in education, but no first aid. She has CPR, which is maybe considered first aid, but there's more to first aid than CPR, but we all want CPR to have used. So that was the only question. Everything else was very good. She's an excellent candidate.
Yep.
Looking at the money end, it's going to drop actually if she stays at step 4. Because I was looking at that, grade 5 goes from 56.5 to 73.4. The assistant director budget currently has 67,309, correct? For fiscal 2026 is going to be 67,309. I'm looking at the the cost for the new assistant director, including the cost of living, is going to come to 62,097. So we're gathering money. It's not yes. So it's not as if we're asking to push the person beyond what the person prior.
Been budgeted, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good thing to have that you've got a $4,400 reduction. The cost of living, totally understood. She's not going to get anything with the fiscal 27. So
Yep.
that
Should have seen
makes
that.
sense. So those are my comments and questions.
The 67,000 is in your budget
Yes.
for 26?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I read that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just wanted to make sure.
I'm lying.
No, I wanted to make sure that it's actually in there.
It is.
If it isn't, that means we have to change the wage and personnel article at town meeting.
No, it's already been approved for 26.
Okay, so it is in the budget. Okay. I'll be honest with you, Holly, when I saw the resume, you weren't at our last meeting. I'll address the elephant in the room, which is, I have really had reservations about some of the positions we're bringing in above a step 3. Okay, some positions, in my opinion, are not. They are middle management. They are people in waiting that we're trying to train. And I think our step 1 through 3, and the reason is the Wage and Personnel Board that we raised it to step 3 before it had to come to us was to give the town the ability to hire. The reason I have a problem with it is the people that come in less than step 3, that we don't see, we don't hear. To me, it's not fair to bring someone in at step 4, okay, or step 5 or step 6. When, you know, someone else is coming in between step 1, 2, and 3 in a similar position. What that position is, I don't know. Okay, but I'm not addressing it from the standpoint of dollars, I'm addressing it from the standpoint of fairness.
Mhm.
So that's why, when this position came up, I said, I do not believe this is a position that should be hired above a step 3. I believe this is a training position, a person that comes in with some experience. Does this person have a bachelor's degree?
I'm sorry, what, a
Does this
bachelor's?
Yeah, does this person have a bachelor's degree?
I believe she does.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
I looked.
Undergraduate,
Yes,
yes,
it was
yes.
a requirement in the job.
She has her undergraduate.
First sentence is bachelor's degree, experience,
Yeah,
work experience is listed as down below as, didn't say substitution.
You should, because.
Okay.
It's a legal sense for certain degrees, with certain jobs.
a minimum of a bachelor's degree with a minimum of 3 to 5 years prior to work experience in the field of eldercare, social service, municipal, or any equivalent combination or education, training, and experience, which provides the required knowledge, skills, and abilities. So that's the caveat.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I did read that, okay, but I'm saying that the first words in the first part of the sentence is the word bachelor.
Yes.
And I did not see one. So, then I had to look at the experience and I was impressed with the experience.
Yes.
And to be totally honest with you, based on what I saw and what I felt that this position I thought would be, I thought she was overqualified, quite frankly. My opinion. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I have a problem with the step 4. Okay, is quite frankly the fairness doctrine of the fact that, you know, we spent a lot of money on this study. We are, you guys understand what we're facing in terms of the town. I'm not going to the dollars and cents. But I am gonna say that, you know, I have a problem with it. Other than that, I mean, you know, somebody, here, and the net problem is this, Holly. We had a meeting recently with the selectmen over the veterans agent. And the veterans agent came in at the same type of scenario, okay? I was against it. And I ended up being the lone no vote. A tie vote with us is a no vote.
Mhm.
Okay, that's why I want a 3rd member on this board.
Right.
The problem boiled down to that selectmen didn't like it, or the administration didn't like it, so then we had to have a joint meeting with the selectmen. And I had to justify everything why I voted the way I did. At the end of the day, it got down to this. She was a good candidate.
Mhm.
Okay? Am I going to do what I believe is right or what's right for the town?
Mhm.
And I had to change my vote, and I voted to take the candidate for the town.
Mhm.
But there was an adjustment as well.
Slight,
Yeah.
wasn't where I wanted to be, slight, it was still much higher than I think that position is. But, based on the experience, that was a candidate that had much less experience than this candidate. That candidate had 2 years of experience in that position. Okay, so, again, I don't believe every position that we have to hire has to be above a step 3. And, I believe there are positions in the town that are growth positions, learning positions. The fact that you had 26 or 27 applicants, you know, again, I understand that this person probably is the best person given the experience and so forth, but maybe a person that wasn't as experienced but has some potential might have been a better choice. So, from the standpoint of the fairness, from the standpoint of, you know, using the wage and personnel bylaw the way I believe it was intended. So, that's my that's my piece. Again, I'm gonna sit here with the vote and go right for the town. Stand on my beliefs. No, stand on my beliefs or right for the town. So, you know, if someone, anybody want to say anything and change my mind, please feel free.
So I'm assuming you're not for it.
I didn't say that yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because I wanted to hear Holly's side of it, all right, and I wanted to hear Tina's side of it.
Yeah.
You know, based on what I saw in the resume, great candidate. Okay, absolutely great candidate. I don't have a problem with all this. And I can look past the no bachelor's degree.
See, but I was looking at this again, and if you look, she's gonna be you for behavior.
I saw that.
So her certifications, BU, Massasoit, Quincy. I think it's good enough
Mhm.
for what is intended for this position to be.
And I just want to be with, you know, you just want to be cautious because companies can get in trouble when they lay a lot on an education that's not required for the job. And there's very few professions that education is required for the job, which is why you say, well, here, everywhere, but I've been really like, is the equivalent of.
No, I don't have any problem with the equivalent. Okay, I'm bringing up the point that the first sentence said.
That's true, Paul.
I understand that, okay, but the point is that's the first yardstick, and does all this experience offset that? I would agree with you, it does. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But again, not seeing the other applicants and talking to them, I mean, you know, is there? It's coming down to a decision. That's what it comes down to, and, you know, I have to be honest with you, when I really tried very hard not to force that decision out from the standpoint of feel like you know, I didn't like the first veteran agency from Carver, okay? Now, and then this one was the right thing to do for the veterans was to hire them, I agree. Don't know if this job in the senior center falls into that same test in my head. I don't know if we have to have someone with all that experience in the senior center. You know, if you told me Holly was leaving shortly, I'd say, well, that's gonna change my mind. But you're not going anywhere, are you?
I'm not going anywhere. And I think that, you know, honestly, from my perspective, that's kind of what comes into play where I'm really stretched pretty thin at this point. I'm doing the director job and the assistant director job, and I need someone there who is going to be overseeing the day-to-day of the senior center. You guys have been there when we're breaking down rooms, we're changing from one activity to another, we're producing newsletters, we're just chatting with seniors, which is what, you know, that's our job. That's what we're there for. So I need someone who can be hands-on and who can be in the thick of things and can speak the language and can navigate all of these things while I'm doing the other stuff that is more office work, right? I've got the age and dementia friendly process coming up. Our triad committee is just getting revamped. So there's so many payroll, all of the administrative things that I feel very strongly that this candidate is that person who can be my go-to person for all the things that people come to me for on a daily, hourly basis. I honestly, she just checks all the boxes. She's got all the experience, and I really think she's got the demeanor and the you know, the personality that is truly what we need over there, what quite honestly we've been lacking, and what the seniors deserve. And I know our new veterans agent, and I know exactly what you're talking about with her, and I would say that this person is the equivalent of that, and that it's just a really great fit with no additional training, from day one she'll be ready to go.
Well, then the other advantage, again, that I see is the fact that this person also has shine certification,
Yes.
Yep.
which Best Contagion does also. So now.
Yeah,
you
and
have
again,
two
because we're,
possible shine officers, and with, everything that's going on from the standpoint of, what we don't know is going on with Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid and so forth.
Yep.
Having, more of those people as, resources to the seniors, I think is important. I'm not, Holly, I am definitely not arguing with you about the person. I'm really not even arguing with you about the step 4. Okay, my issue boils down to that, I'm extremely fair. I try to be very fair through all the processes. And, I see that some of these hirings that we're doing that are above a step 3 are, cause other problems, not just in someone that's hired that's step 1, step 2, or step 3 and sees it, but also in, reclasses in jobs. So that affects what happens to us at the board. Okay, it's not just a decision to say, I want to deny her $3,000. I don't, I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I want to be able to say I'm being very, very fair. So that's the reason I'm standing on this. I'm not, I think honestly that, with the right person at the senior center could be better than it is, quite frankly. It could be, it could go to the next level. And if this person is that person to help you get it to the next level, that you want, then, I don't have a problem with that, okay? Would this person ultimately, you think, if something happened, would this be the next director?
When Holly wins the lottery.
Yeah, when Holly
Yeah,
wins
when
the
Holly
lottery,
wins the
when
lottery.
Holly wins the lottery,
Yeah.
is this the next director?
I'm just thinking about me winning a lottery.
No, she's going to Maui now.
I would say, listen, I don't have any plans of going anywhere, so I'm not thinking of my replacement, but if I'm out of the office for an extended period of time, I think she could easily fill in for me without any real interruptions in service.
How about talents? Well, you don't know yet, so you got, but possibly in speaking to her talents of outside the senior center. In other words, I'm a believer that, I've hired a lot of people in my life in past jobs, in past organizations. And I didn't necessarily look for a position player, I was looking for an athlete. Red Auerbach from the Celtics said the same thing. Okay, he always hired the athlete, not the position player. So is this person an athlete? Meaning, can she take on, in your opinion, any other responsibilities? Not knowing what they are. I have no idea what they are. But does this person have that kind of strike you as having that capability?
Yeah, so when Tina and I were talking to her during our interview, she was telling us about a like an expo that she was in the process of setting up, coordinating. She had coordinated 30 something vendors to come in for an expo, health fair related, senior service related. So she's very hands-on. She's in the thick of things. She gets into the weeds and the minutia of from start to finish of setting them all up, being hands-on for the event, literally setting up tables, chairs, banners, making all of the promoting the event. So I think for sure she understands the minor details of things, but the importance of following through and making sure that information is shared clearly to seniors.
Did she see the big picture?
Yeah.
You think, she's the type of person that can see the big picture, not just.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And it's a passion. You can tell. You can just tell as soon as you start talking to her that it's a passion.
Mhm.
That's hard to find.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting for them.
No doubt.
I think, her
After,
skills.
for all we get paid, I mean, this is our passion.
Oh, yeah.
Your passion is not
I'm taking my brand new, wage and personnel board committee money. And I'm going to Sicily again, because I can afford that now with my.
That's right.
Elevated position.
I do.
But I think what comparing this agent is, you know, does she possess, does the candidate possess the skill set, the professionals and all of those different things that if there was something in another department that sparked her interest, could she fit into that? Sure, you know, you know.
And I'm glad, that's what I was hoping you would say.
Where
Okay,
does she wanna be?
She wants to be.
You wanna
Yeah.
be,
She wants to
you
be.
wanna be where you wanna be, because that's where you do your best job.
no, I totally understand, but I think also that, go back to what I said before about family. Okay, if I'm gonna make that decision, I want a reason why I made it,
I do have
and
a,
that's why I'm asking this question,
yeah,
so.
I have kind of like the same questions that you asked, only a little bit different. Was one of the things that, things happen beyond anybody's control. And one of the questions he was asking was, you can step in, can she, if, God forbid, she starts on a Wednesday, and you get hit by a car on a Friday.
Wins a lot, wins a
It's a
lot.
lot- I get it.
Like the lottery
I
situation.
mean, do you think that her experience would get her through the humps? Because
Yes.
there's nobody ever knows everything. But it does take a little while sometimes to trick on, but her experiences are just all over the place. I mean, she's monitored this and marked that, and prepared that, and that was okay. The other question, and we did answer the question on, you know, if she could. The other is a question about reclassification. And you had mentioned something, and Jim something about changing responsibilities. Are you considering looking at her responsibilities as a reclass within the next year that you're aware of? Like asking a reclassification for her position?
No,
Okay. Okay. And the other one was communication skills. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Because I don't have her here and I can't talk to her, so I don't know how she's talking, so all I can do is rely on you.
Yeah.
When it comes to how dealing with seniors, and I'm a senior, and communicating with seniors is extremely not difficult, but special. Because it's different. You're not communicating with a 20-year-old. You're communicating with somebody from an entirely different world. You know, for the most part.
Mhm.
So if you're comfortable, that was my question. Are you comfortable and content and impressed with her communication skills?
yes, 100%. And again, with her background in working in COAs, she's not new to the dynamics.
Yes.
Of talking to seniors and of helping them navigate things.
Yeah.
Especially she's got an outreach background. She's dealt with the triad program. She's dealt with volunteers. She's a volunteer coordinator, the senior tax work-off program. So she's certainly fluid in all of that, and her communication skills are exactly what we're looking for at the Council on Aging. Very calm, very professional, a great listener. You know, we've had telephone conversations that just turn into other things beyond, you know, work. So it's certainly relatable, down to earth, just really again, I feel like I'm just singing her praises, but I do feel very strongly that
Molly, that's what we need. Here's a potential problem that I want you to see if we, get your head around and give me a solution.
Sure.
She comes in as a, step 5, grade 4. Step 4, no,
Yeah.
step 5, grade 4.
Step 4.
Grade 5. No, I got grade 5, step 4.
Grade 5, step 4.
Great.
You said the opposite, you said grade 4, step 5.
No.
Well, regardless,
Okay,
it's
so
grade
we're
5,
agreeing,
step 4.
okay,
Disagree.
right, my issue that I see, and Lorraine's question about the reclass is very pointed. My understanding is that we are not gonna hire a program director. That person is a step 6. We are not going to hire a, she will be the outreach coordinator.
No.
We have an outreach coordinator.
We have
She's
an
also
outreach
step 6.
Mhm.
Okay, grade 6. She is a grade 5.
I know.
Does the outreach coordinator answer to her?
No,
He answers to you.
the outreach coordinator?
Yes,
Yes.
okay. So they are equal in terms of the organizational chart?
Equal but different, just completely different roles
Okay,
within the organization. Within the department, yeah. They work collaboratively for sure, but I wouldn't say that one is over another. It's my understanding, this is the first time I've gone through the hiring process, so it's my understanding that the outreach coordinator is a grade above the assistant director, due to having the requirement of a master's.
okay.
That's what my
But
understanding.
this person was an outreach coordinator in a past life.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. I guess I can't necessarily articulate what I think the problem's gonna be, but when I see those numbers, I sense a possible problem in the horizon. And so if the person comes to you and says, you know, I believe I'm going to handle some of these things, or this person's gonna answer to, but I'm at a different level, how are we handling that?
So I think that we've had, I guess that's something that I could talk to her about now. And we did in the interview explain the structure of the department. We went over that. She's familiar with municipalities and the step and grade structure. So I don't think that she's coming into this blindly, not knowing, what to expect in terms of year to year, salary increases.
Sure.
She can do her due diligence to see what other people in the department are making. That's public record, but I don't see her questioning reporting hierarchy or finding that it's clear within the department who reports to whom, and I don't see
And
an area with that.
not being in the department, I would have assumed that both those people answer to the assistant director, who then answer to the director. Program coordinator and outreach coordinator. I would have thought both those people would have answered to the assistant director, and then the assistant director answers to the director. That would have been the hierarchy that, not knowing it, that would have been the hierarchy, hence the reason for my question where I see the problem. And if you're telling me that the hierarchy in the department is so well defined that that problem doesn't exist or won't exist, then I'm fine with it. But you understand where I'm coming from? Is
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my take on it is the department, in my opinion, isn't big enough to have that many, there is a hierarchy, I mean, pretty much all positions report to the director, just like almost all the other departments that have the department head do, building and stuff. So I can understand not having position report to the assistant director. I think in the past, the position might have had maybe the van drivers, but that was before we upgraded the van driver coordinator position. So, I mean, that's kind of my take on looking at the size of the department alone. And in my opinion, it's not big enough to have any later.
You were reporting, so the program and the outreach both report to you, correct, Paul?
But I know there's no program.
I'm sorry, there is,
Right.
but the position, if it were occupied, both the program and outreach coordinators would report to you directly.
Correct. If the program's position.
I mean, they all report to the director.
and the program coordinator will be filled by the assistant director or COA.
So the program's position was eliminated. It was.
No,
the
it's still in
program's-
our bylaw.
It's still in the bylaw, but it's not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
still in the bylaw, and honestly, when I was here and Lorraine was too, when quite frankly, you were appointed as
Yeah.
the assistant. And part of the agreement that we had with the previous director, or my understanding, not agreement, understanding, was that we were not going to fill the program coordinator's position because program coordinator would assume would be part of the assistant director's duties.
Correct.
And then he said, why don't we get rid of it?
It was probably me who said, once we get rid of the position, we can never get it back.
But now you have one as, now you have a person who is hired as a 5, doing the job that says in our bylaw that she's paid at a 6.
Yeah,
And I see problems with that. And all I'm trying to do is prevent the problem. So, that's the reason why I bring it up. Okay, it is in the bylaw, public knowledge. You can look at it just like I can look at it. Okay? You know, why would that position be a 6 and it's half my job? And I still got this other part of my job to do and I'm being paid as a 5. I don't want to reclass. And that's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's not a Holly problem or a candidate problem, it's a bylaw problem. But the bylaw problem could become a Holly problem. And that's why I asked, what would you do?
I would talk to Tina.
Good answer.
It is-
I would too.
That's not, I didn't write the bylaws.
Yeah,
So I think there's a few things, right? And so, you know, so we had an assistant director position, well, before anyone that was in this room, that was created for a certain reason, and then leadership changed over there, so that position kind of went away, and then turned to the programs person, who didn't do the other parts of the assistant director did, and then we had leadership change over there, and then they looked at it again. So yeah, I mean, I do believe that the assistant director has absorbed some of the program parts of the program coordinator. I think the director has agreed, has taken on some of those pieces. I think even when we upgraded on the union side, transportation, you know, they have certain parts of that as well. You know, I mean, ultimately, if this board wants to get rid of that title.
I just think this hire makes a very good case to get rid of this hire.
yeah.
To be totally honest, to make her life easier. Okay,
There's a conflict when you're dealing with an assistant director. And the hierarchy normally would not have an outreach coordinator on the same level as an assistant director, and I get. So I
again,
can see.
and that's why I was asking the question, because I didn't understand the organizational layout based on the bylaw. Everything else I can understand in the bylaw, because, you know, if the director is a 12, the assistant's an 8, the outreach coordinator is the 6, or whether it's facilities and assistant facilities, that they all fall a very numerical
Correct.
logic. This one doesn't, in my head.
Not if you're an assistant director in grade 5 and an outreach coordinator who has fewer responsibilities.
I don't know that.
We're assuming.
I don't know that.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
Right.
If you.
We're
Again,
laying.
as you know,
Yeah.
as you know, for the grading, right?
Yep.
So there might be more to do with the assistant director.
And the assistant director was not even in the job set.
No, but you
Right.
ended up grading most of the skills you needed. But anyway, so, you know, so I would actually say that the scope of responsibility as it affects individuals on the outreach side might have been right, some that's a different grade, I don't know.
That was in the study,
Right. Right.
but the assistant director was not in the study.
Yeah.
Program coordinator was, and so wasn't the outreach coordinator.
The outreach coordinator has an asterisk that says a part-time for rate based on hours worked.
Right,
Is that, it's full-time,
Yeah.
it's always going to be both.
well, it's
It's
full-time right now, it's full-time right
You
now.
know, it's silly.
But that caveat's in there in case we could only,
Okay,
it became part-time,
Right.
or, you know,
Well, it originally started off.
part-time.
that was my next question,
Right.
was this position, so,
And at one point, the position was solely funded by the government.
Yeah.
And the director at that time, understood that the town needed a full time, and so we went full time. And even with that, that's what I did. Now, because for the most part, like one of the grand positions are. And so, So once it became full-time, we started living in immigration personnel. Then, you know, it was, change of director, and I'm not opposed to this, when I change of director. In any department, I think they do need to take the time and be like, okay, what's the vibe here?
Yeah.
What do we need? Like, let me
What's
assess,
my
you know?
structure?
Right.
No, I agree with that, but, I mean. I'm not looking for trouble, but I can see a problem. And I think it needs to be addressed.
And we're really getting into a challenge.
You know, we're a little too close to town meeting to,
Small town.
right?
Yeah.
The other thing that can happen as well is, I could put a motion on the floor at town meeting asking to eliminate the position of program coordinator for COA. Okay, and the town meeting vote, they could vote on it. And,
I guess my thing is, if the concern is the incumbent to the assistant director incumbent might have a concern with it, you know, that's a big money to put on the floor.
no doubt, but I don't think, but I don't, no, I agree with you, I'd rather wait, but I don't think it's a problem we should ignore.
And I think, you know.
Okay, and I don't, for one reason, why make her job harder? That's what I'm trying to understand, why make Holly's job harder by a bylaw that I think is faulty, that should be adjusted. So that we can eliminate a problem, now, maybe the right thing is that the assistant director is a grade 8, I don't know. Okay, that's up to her, but I don't want this to be a discussion point. Okay, I think it's an unnecessary discussion point, you're just stepping on your own foot. And I think we can avoid it by getting rid of the problem.
First step would be to get rid of the position
In the bylaw,
in the bylaw.
Yeah.
And then deal with that as soon as we, if we could do that at the town meeting, next week.
but again, I think we'd be better off waiting until, quite frankly, fall town meeting and flesh it out. Because the question is, why do you want to get rid of it? Well, because that position's been absorbed into the assistant director of the COA. Okay, and so is the assistant director of the COA going to be compensated for taking up? No, because they've adjusted their organizational chart and moved responsibilities so people are on the correct way.
Jan is an excellent point because you really don't want to take the details at time.
No, I
Because we
understand,
don't have all the answers yet.
I understand.
And you could just pull a Holly, God love you.
But I just, and Holly, I don't mean to put you through it, I'm just telling you that they're,
Yeah, I understand.
I'm a firm believer that, you throw a rock in the pond and the ripples go everywhere.
Mhm.
And they touch everything, and looking at this, I can see a possible problem coming at some point in the future.
Because I see the two of them upside down.
Right, and to be totally honest with you, if the person was just hired as a step 3 or lower, this problem wouldn't even come up.
Right.
Because we would never hear about it.
But-
Right, so, but, right, so it became a problem.
Would come, like you said, to a head. Probably as soon as somebody realizes, wait a minute.
Right.
People know exactly what they're doing. They can understand what they're going through in their head if they find out that, well, wait a minute. It makes no sense, but, okay.
All right. I'm off my soapbox.
And you did a fine job.
There was several things I saw in this, as to summarize, there was some things in the position I don't like. I think the best thing is, let's put a motion on the floor, to hire a, assistant director to the COA at a salary of step 3, grade 5.
Nope. Grade 5, step 4. Oh, you're.
I'm reading exactly
Oh,
what it
it's
says.
grade 5, okay.
Now,
Hold on.
this is what the agenda says. That's why I want to check this.
Oh, okay.
So.
I have to go to Tina's email,
Oh,
No, but it says higher above step 3.
hire above step 3, grade 5. Okay, this is being hired at what position here?
4, step 4, grade 5.
So, again, I'll rephrase the motion. I'm looking for a motion to approve the hiring of the assistant director of the COA at step 4, grade 5. Okay, so the candidate got forward. So that's my proposed motion.
Okay, in light of her experiences and her knowledge, I so move.
Okay, so I'll second it. All right, any more discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, I don't have any either. So Lorraine,
Yes.
Jim, yes. Okay, Holly, sorry.
Thank you. No, you're just doing your job.
Patience and good luck with your new job and.
Thank you.
folks.
Yeah, no, again, I'm really not trying to make this difficult, but
I understand.
I hope I made my point clear about, the way I feel about it, so.
You're here to ask questions, that's what you do.
That's what you're there for. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we don't have all the answers, but we expect much good.
So, I'll say, Holly, thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna go buy my lottery ticket now.
Please,
Yeah, get
please
the
do.
one. I want to be if she dies. I like the,
Hit the lottery.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that. Well, congratulations and.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you get the lottery, call us.
Or tell no one.
Sure, I will.
Holly, I look forward to meeting the applicant.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care, hon.
All right, so, discuss any issues related to annual town meeting if needed. I have an issue. Okay? Why is the facilities taken out of the DPW director position
Yeah.
in the town meeting?
Who decided?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you up front, I'm voting against it because my vote, I feel like my vote it should be rescinded. No wage and personnel, the DPW director, I do not recommend bringing it forward. Okay, so, and I'll make that known at town meeting. Because I feel that change like that should not be done after we vote.
So, but is your vote of having the position of the personnel? I guess I didn't see the vote of having the position of the personnel as a vote of supporting having the position in the bylaw. So I guess when you guys looked at the job description, and said this is the grade.
Mhm.
I wasn't understanding that to mean waiting for something to read.
We slotted the director in the bylaw to give the town the ability to stay within the parameters of the job description.
Yep.
And appoint a DPW director if necessary, okay? The job description has been changed. My vote is now rescinded. I do not want to put a DPW director in the town bylaw.
Okay, so you're not necessarily not.
I'm not necessarily in
Not
favor,
supportive
I'm in
of the
favor of
yeah.
of the rules changing after the fact. Okay, and, I, sorry that you don't know the reason why, I really was hoping you did.
So was that.
Somebody's gonna ask it at town meeting, I guarantee you.
Again, that can be decided, it's not anything.
Well, we also asked for the committee to talk to us, which they did not. We also asked the committee to provide us.
Talk to you guys, and get
Yes.
recommendations.
It's an input, it's just that understanding process, all right? And the other thing we had asked for is they had asked for, was it February or March?
We asked them to have all their work done
Done.
before we had it considered.
And we asked them for January, and this is what we got the other day.
Mhm.
They had, it's the article.
Right,
Yeah,
but it's the job description, I think, too, like it's something.
right, but it's changed.
And that's wrong.
And that's wrong, because
Right.
we've approved the job description, and now they're gonna change it after the fact. So that means it's null and void, and
Right.
I agree with them, it's
Right.
null and void. You
Yeah,
just
our
turn around-
motion and our vote, yeah,
It qualifies as a reclass, when you start,
Yeah.
changing the content of the job description, I'm getting upset. When you change the content of the job description after we've approved it, we've classified it, we've ranked it, we've spent time doing this, And now they randomly and unilaterally decided to take a chunk of it out. Without even asking us why. I mean, that's our job description and we had to declassify. So they should have said to us why
This is why we took this out.
and was why.
Right.
You know,
And
it's not about pride, it's about the routine, it's about the, the bylaw and the comp study and everything worked so very hard. And to turn around and say, oh, no, we're gonna take half of it out, and that's the kind of. Let's say, John, we'll go back to John.
Okay, John.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Because, yeah, but they changed the job description, so. No, and I agree, I cannot support that.
That really doing what?
We're not,
I'm not supporting it on the floor.
But I guess like.
Do you want to make a vote as a board, because neither one of us want that, we don't approve it
So
because of the change.
waiting personnel has two articles. They have the one like there's the bylaw changes, of
Mhm.
which this is part of it. But we're planning on changing that on the floor. And you don't do that now.
No, you're right. I don't know the answer to that yet, because I want to think it through. I'm inclined to change the bylaw on the floor.
Mhm.
Because I think that if this is going to change after the fact that we voted on it, then I think it needs to go right back to zero. And start over again.
For that piece of your. First
Right.
article, whatever the number is,
But we're part of the consent agenda, so we will have to say hold,
you know that for sure already?
yeah,
Okay,
okay? I watched the video.
so I wasn't there, so I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know
Yeah.
what they decided.
Yeah, Sean and Keith named all the articles that were part of the consent agenda. So, so if it's in the consent agenda, I'm gonna hold the whole wage and personnel audit.
For that piece of it, not the other one, the total one, because there's the other two.
Right,
Yeah,
right, no,
yeah.
the COLA one is fine, but the change in bylaw, that will be held. And the reasoning will be that the DPW director position was changed after we voted on it. And therefore, if someone wanted to make a friendly amendment to me that says we'll take the DPW director out of the bylaw, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, 'cause it's
So-
really-
There'll be no DPW director vote at town meeting.
With the position.
Will not be a position at town meeting.
Right.
The
but
only
town
option-
Might say, we want to do that,
No, because it's not the bylaw.
but it can be at some point.
The way you guys were doing this was we were gonna create a position
Yeah.
so that the town could vote on. it.
We-
Now what we're going to do is do the right thing, which is create the position for the town and then vote on it at town meeting.
Right, so I guess, like I had said before, there are a number of positions in bylaw that have never been done. I saw this as, let's get that placeholder in there.
I agree.
Right, but so, let's get this position in there, if the town later decides.
Agreed.
To do DPW.
Agreed.
So, now, let me just understand, so the article that says leave the bylaw changes, part of those changes are, it was. Creation of a position of the DPW director, so you would hold. You would hold, and then we're holding that article to take out that position,
Correct.
and then I was saying.
To remove that piece of,
Is that your comment?
The point being is that if, it doesn't even have to be a friendly amendment. If I would then have to put a motion on the floor that removes the DPW director from the bylaw. And if the floor votes yes, it's out, it's out. Then there's no vote on the DPW director.
But why
at town
is
meeting,
that?
Because there's no, the position's been eliminated.
you're asking that you insert.
Okay, but.
What you're saying is, you're right, Jim, you can take the position out,
Right,
but they could still vote on the DPW director. And then that would have to come back to us and we would have to approve it, rate it and grade it.
And we have to reclassify it, because basically what we approved before
Yeah.
we changed it and
Okay, but that's what I mean, so like.
You can do that. I'm not arguing that point.
That's
Okay.
all I'm getting at, so
Yeah.
if the town ultimately says, yeah, we should do DPW. And then, okay, so at least then that says that committee. And now we get to that new job description on the foundation, or two classified, there's no three classified, there's a new position.
have you seen an organization chart for this new department?
I haven't seen organization chart for any department.
I mean, this is.
There was at the last selectmen meeting, a discussion, and there was a chart put up. That showed how the DPW director, where people were answering for them.
Could you find out and send that to Gemini, please?
I did see
If
it
we
during the
can get
selectmen
it,
meeting.
And because I'm a big fan of
But,
organization
right,
charts.
but keep this in mind, okay? It wasn't finalized.
It's not finalized.
No, it wasn't finalized then.
Then.
At that
So
point,
they have-
probably 2-3 weeks ago,
At Board of Selectmen?
Board of Selectmen, and they were still going to meet with the DPW group
Right.
one more time. And that's when the change came about facility.
And was the Board of Selectmen the one who wanted to change it?
Don't know.
So that wasn't
I
there
just
then?
got it, no, it wasn't presented to us. I just got that through the wind, well, actually, your email.
Right.
And I'm going, well, what do you know that, I don't know. You
Yeah,
know, why did you send the email? I guess what I'm trying to think.
Just that because I knew that would change it.
because you're supposed to. And you-
Well, you knew, yeah, but no idea why they changed.
And so. We want to change, but I don't know.
So basically what we have is we approved the job description. Submitted it. Then you changed it, didn't talk to us. I mean. And this was after we voted on the job description, so you're.
And we graded it. What did we grade the DPW director?
Yeah. Where's my Jennifer? Where's Jennifer?
Just curious. Somebody knew.
Department of Public Works Director or Director of Public Works.
Oh, Public Works Director, ordinance. Yeah.
So I think you and I on.
Well, again, I just don't think it's right that things would change that, that's all.
Not after a vote by us.
You know, or we should just be allowed to revote it. So, I just don't want it to, the way it's gonna go at town meeting is where the personnel approves 2-0.
Can't do it right, not right now.
Yeah, I think that, I don't disagree that the job description change and may change the ultimate grade of the position.
It would,
But I don't, I still.
I would think. I mean, again, we're dealing with a chunk of facilities and buildings and personnel. That's a lot of responsibility, so there's something's gonna shift, because if you didn't need the facilities in the job description, now is it in there in the first?
And I, again, I didn't see it on this.
I know, I know.
No, but I thought it was, I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it took the form. You know. These facilities and permanent. The water department, or tree department, or street department, or water, you know.
Street trees and parks are in the DPW because traditionally street trees and parks. Facilities directors didn't appear on the scene until
general,
about
right,
10 years
exactly.
ago. So you can't say that it's been a tradition.
No, that's what I mean, so
You
like,
know,
if I think of departments of public works, I think of public works as. What is the public, for the town work.
And you
And I don't
can
know
put
if
facilities
facilities is
because
part
the
of that.
public are coming into the building, and if your building is not appropriately
Yeah.
set up, if it's not safe, it's not comfortable, then yes, that's an impact on the public. It's definitely an impact on the
But even
employees.
something as strange, as similar as what I don't understand is. Facility means staging, you go up the side of the building to fix the eave at Adams Library. And we have staging in the DPW on the second floor, they're gonna go out and rent.
If it's not.
But I don't think our people Anyway.
The point I'm trying to make is that the coordination, okay, they need a backup. They can't take the one from the transfer station, they can't take DPW, they're gonna go that one.
Maybe.
When the budgets get a little tighter, they won't. I can tell you right now. They won't get the operator. Okay, I just know what's gonna happen here. So, in my experience, and I've got 3+ years of experiences calling on highway departments and DPWs. Facilities is part of DPW. Okay, and if the goal here is to get coordination amongst all the departments that touch dirt, bricks, wood, paint, whatever, pipes. If we want coordination of all that, put it all under it.
Do
And
you want me to have Keith reach out to you?
whatever he wants, yeah, you can obviously tell I'm not happy about it. Okay, and neither is Lorraine, so but I don't know if Keith has a whole lot to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was in my committee, but
Yeah.
I don't know where or when the decision of take facilities of happens.
Because it really does impact what we do as a board and what our vote was. So, yeah, what is going in now is what they're presenting is not what we do. Absolutely positively.
And honestly, you know, one of the problems that I saw with this position, you know, is kind of my good brain said, don't vote for this, don't create this position until this period is done.
Sure.
Because sewer commissioners aren't happy about it, water commissioners aren't happy about it, okay, so you're gonna have angst. And that angst is gonna bubble up somewhere.
And I think, if I'm understanding correctly, the full scope of what this director would do is still in play into the water. Superintendent, and police department superintendent. When they choose to. That's mine.
And again, our understanding on the position was those who would answer the director of public works. So if that's changed, the position's changed again.
Yeah, I guess.
Because it was presented that water and sewer would fall under that department, meaning that the water superintendent and the sewer superintendent would answer the director of public works.
But I don't think it came to that. So I think it was more of the
They can't-
coordination. Like, to your point, it was more of the, okay, well, the department, you want to do X, Y, Z, maybe the super is responsible for letting you know. Or the breaks, or the, whatever this is,
the
or
people-
contracting.
The people that I spoke to regarding the DPW, I did, no, other towns, I did my homework,
Yeah, sure.
okay? The water department and the sewer department, the big part of it is that one of the biggest problems that they have is hiring contractors to plow snow. They can now take the water people, they can plow snow. The sewer people can now go plow snow. Okay,
There's negotiating. But yeah.
but if it's under a public works department, and those people are employees under public works, okay, those things can happen.
Big.
They'd be negotiated, but to be honest with you, it's the way it is everywhere.
Never made a case for anything.
No, but the point is though, that quite frankly, there are better things to negotiate.
Like, I don't disagree. I just
Okay,
know-
if you're gonna fight about whether the water guy can go plow snow, he works for the Department of Public Works. That to me is just not a negotiation, it's worth on.
that's what
okay.
it means.
Right. But the point I'm trying to make is that it would be smarter to look at a much bigger picture. So, but if the current strategy, the current structure, is not Director of Public Works, Superintendent of Water, Superintendent of Sewer, the answers to him, that is not what I believe for. Okay, if they have to go to the board of directors and they have board members, commissioners, then go to, no, gonna be cooks in the kitchen. As far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't do it.
I mean, it was my understanding that the water and sewer people would be dealing with rates.
The
And
commissioners.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I apologize. Rates and
Policy.
that kind of stuff.
Policy.
That's.
Mhm.
So-
But they're
I think they
enterprise,
should be doing that.
they're enterprise,
Right?
they're not day to day should fall to the DPW.
Correct. So if the
Or the
DPW
supervisor.
decides that Joe over here needs to shovel snow here, but Mary over here needs to plow, it's still in the same department, it's still out of the same budget. I don't know how they would have to really change a negotiation or a contract because they're still operating heavy equipment. And
Because
how
it's not in their
specific
job descriptions today.
there, so that was the question, how specific are they when it comes to, but we've seen things that, they have to operate this. So,
Yeah, but
yeah, but.
no, I don't know. I mean, I just know we have positions in water and wastewater.
They don't do that,
Plowing is not in their job description.
but heavy equipment is,
Yeah, but plowing is not.
but heavy equipment is,
The
and what are
piece
you
about-
doing?
No, but the piece about plowing is, you are on call.
Is-
You have to be here overnight. You
Right,
have to be
but
on-
if you, I see your argument here, but if you're operating heavy equipment. it's equipment. I mean, in terms of the hours,
Water and wastewater. I don't know, I mean, I'm just
yeah,
visualizing and I.
yeah.
There's a couple of people with CDLs.
Yeah,
People,
but
couple of
required.
people with hoist. and
they're
lifting.
not required.
There are-
Hoisting, yes.
There are a couple of
That's-
hoisting and
that's-
lifting,
that's-
right, lifting like. And there's also, some CDL. But keep in mind, it's not about plowing snow.
Yeah.
It's about coordinating, water as a problem, okay? And right now, Streets and Parks was on a project and water needed the Volvo payloader and Streets and Parks, somebody has to make a decision that says, this water leak is more important than the beach project you're doing with the Volvo, get the Volvo over there. Right now, that's not gonna exist.
That's the point.
Correct. That's my illustration, okay? That's what I want to make sure we
I
clear.
will. Heads up.
Would you like to vote on this or not?
I don't think we need to. I think honestly, it's just a vague item on the agenda. But I also am basically bringing it up because I think there might be a problem with town meeting.
I'm debating whether or not to make a motion
You can make any motion you want. I'm fine with it.
to eliminate the director from the article. Because I'm not entirely comfortable with the job description that they put with, and it's not what we approved earlier.
Mhm.
They've changed it, and without changing. I have nothing, I have.
The only caveat I
Yeah.
would say is I would hold off because it's going to come up at town meeting. Let's find out what they say. In other words, why did you change it?
Okay.
So, because
Because I don't
then,
stand there and tell them the same thing I want to do.
right,
And that's sufficient to me.
yeah, right, and I think, but maybe if they changed it and there's a reason they changed it, which I can't fathom. Okay, if there's a reason why they changed it, I'd like to hear.
Do you know? if-
That's the only reason why I'm saying I wouldn't vote against. I would vote against the motion because
Okay.
I want to hear what they want to
Gotcha.
tell me.
Got
That's
it.
all.
It's on our,
It's kind of on the agenda, discuss any items related to annual town meeting if
Yep.
needed.
I didn't think you could, I don't know. I
I
just
can
think
do,
you
we can do
could.
whatever you want. I mean, I'm a resident. As a resident, I can sit there and say, I want the whole thing full.
No, on the floor, I'm talking about this meeting.
Okay.
You know what I
If
mean?
we made a decision and we made a vote on it, then it's fine. But I agree with him now. I understand what he's saying. And I have no problem standing on the floor. I've done it before and as a member, I don't agree because I don't.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
know that.
okay with that. I'm really okay with that. So.
I'm glad that sentence is in the agenda. I'm sorry to put you through that.
It's on there, I mean.
Discuss any items related to annual town meeting if needed, so.
Yeah, no, I problem with that. I was more of, if you guys took a vote to say you're gonna take that off, and there was no one, this wasn't made public enough to the point where someone could be here. To be like, let me be able to answer that for you before you make this vote.
Well, don't forget the warrant's closed.
Yeah, and the warrant is closed, so
Right,
we
so
we
you
can't
can't-
change anything.
Can't change the warrant, so,
Yeah.
so.
It would be pointless.
And we're gonna ask what's, okay. Yes, no,
Do I know what?
no, that was your start off, do you know, because you know, you said, do you know? So then I knew I thought nothing, then bitch. Okay.
Okay, so don't forget, see if they have more child, because
Yeah.
I would love to have seen.
But you
all
said
of
that
this.
there was none.
We saw-
There was, Eric was summarizing the discussion of the DPW group.
Okay.
And he had put up on the screen a chart.
Hmm.
It's in YouTube, the last selectmen meeting.
Yeah.
It's towards the end, like at about the hour mark.
But is it part of the materials? Because it wouldn't go on. If that was part of
I
it-
haven't had time to look.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I can't honestly tell you that, okay? And during that meeting, it was not brought up,
Well,
a change in the
oh,
facility.
yeah, but the org chart was.
It could have been a suggested word try. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna tell you it was final.
If it was drafted, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a discussion that he had, and I remember seeing it as I watched the meeting.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, and I probably watch most of it. All right, so, okay, all right, well, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, there's nothing, 48 hours in advance of the meeting. I would, anything, Tina? Okay, I appreciate you coming in tonight, I appreciate you hearing me on my soapbox. Now seeing that it's 7:12, I'll ask for a motion to close the written personnel meeting for, April 23rd.
I need to close the working personnel board at 7:12 p.m. on April 23rd.
I'll second it. I'll take the vote. Lorraine,
Yes.
Jim, yes. All right.